Everything you've been taught about how to study is wrong. We are literally forced to cram information into our brains, highlighting books until they're glowing neon, just praying something sticks. We treat our minds like a computer, downloading data, but when the test comes, the files are either corrupted or completely gone. But what if I told you the real secret to genius, the method used by legends like Steve Jobs, is the complete opposite? What if learning isn't about forcing things in, but about letting things connect? We're all told to focus, specialize, and cram to get smarter, but Steve Jobs became a legend doing the exact opposite. The secret behind the Mac's design didn't come from a computer class, it came from a calligraphy class he took after dropping out of college. And that one insane decision reveals a powerful secret for learning that completely destroys everything we've been told about studying. To understand this insane method, we have to go back in time. It's 1972. A 17-year-old Steve Jobs enrolls in a super expensive college that his parents poured their life savings into. But after only 6 months, he saw zero value in it. Feeling guilty and lost, he made a terrifying choice. He dropped out. But he didn't leave. For the next 18 months, Jobs became a drop-in. He was broke, sleeping on his friends' floors, returning Coke bottles for food money, and walking 7 miles every Sunday just to get a good meal. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave him a superpower: freedom. By quitting the required classes, he could drop in on any class that seemed interesting. And one thing that caught his eye was the amazing hand-drawn posters all over campus. Reed College had maybe the best calligraphy program in the entire country. So just because he was curious, Jobs audited the calligraphy class. It had zero practical application in his life. It was just a random dot of knowledge. Now fast forward 10 years, Jobs is designing the first Macintosh computer. And that's when the calligraphy class came back. While other computers used ugly, blocky letters, Jobs demanded their machine be beautiful. Because of that one useless class, the Mac was the first computer to bring beautiful fonts to the masses. Jobs himself said that it's likely no personal computer would have amazing typography if he hadn't taken that one random class. In his famous Stanford speech, he explained it with one simple, powerful idea. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect. That one story reveals the entire secret to how Jobs learned and created. It was never about studying for a specific goal. It was about collecting dots. His genius wasn't just in tech, it was in connecting totally unrelated ideas. So how do you learn like Steve Jobs? You don't have to drop out of college. It's about changing your entire mindset around what learning even is. It all comes down to 3 key principles you can start using right now. First, you have to collect more dots. We're all pushed to specialize, pick a lane, and stay there forever. If you're a science student, you only study science. Jobs did the complete opposite. He knew creativity is just connecting things. But to connect things, you first need a massive library of things to connect. He didn't just study computers. His mind was an insane mix of different interests: calligraphy, Bob Dylan, Zen Buddhism, German car design, even the layout of kitchen appliances. He once said that most people in his industry have boring, linear ideas because they don't have enough dots to connect. Think of your brain like a garden. If a gardener only plants roses, they only get roses. But a gardener who plants roses, ferns, trees, and weird exotic flowers creates a place where unbelievable new things can grow.
So here's how you apply this. Make it a rule to spend 1 or 2 hours a week learning something with zero practical use for your career. Read a book on ancient architecture, watch a documentary on marine biology, take a poetry class. The goal isn't mastery, it's to collect dots. You're building a massive mental library. You might not see how Japanese art will help your finance job, but you have to trust the dot will be there when you need to connect it. The second principle will break your brain, the art of subtraction. Most people think to learn more, you have to do more. Read more books, take more notes, study more topics. Jobs believed the exact opposite. When he came back to Apple in 1997, it was failing and selling a giant mess of products. In a legendary meeting, he drew a simple 2x2 grid. On top, he wrote consumer and pro. On the side, desktop and portable. Then he told his team to make one amazing product for each box and cancel everything else. He cut over 70% of Apple's products to focus on just 4 great ones. He believed that simple can be harder than complex, and this applies directly to studying. True mastery isn't knowing 1,000 things. It's understanding a few basic things deeply. To apply this, you have to be ruthless. Instead of a to-do list with 20 items, find the one thing that will make the biggest impact and give it your complete, uninterrupted focus. Turn off your phone, close your email, and destroy every single distraction. Before you study, ask yourself 3 questions. What is the single most important idea here? What is the essential information, and what is just noise? How can I explain this in the simplest way possible? That last question leads to a powerful tool called the Feynman method. To know if you really understand something, try explaining it to a child. If you use big words or get stuck, you don't get it. Learning like Jobs isn't about adding more. It's about cutting away everything non-essential to reveal the masterpiece. The final principle is a mindset that fuels everything else. Adopt the beginner's mind. This idea came from Zen Buddhism, which heavily influenced Jobs. It's about looking at the world with total curiosity, like you know nothing. At the end of his Stanford speech, Jobs shared a quote, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." Stay hungry means you're never satisfied with what you know. Stay foolish means being willing to try things that smart people would call stupid, like taking a calligraphy class just because you find it interesting. For a student, the beginner's mind is a superpower. Experts get trapped by what they know and can't see new solutions, but a beginner is free. They can ask, why do we do it this way? They can challenge everything because they don't even know what the rules are. This mindset also fueled Jobs' obsession with craftsmanship. He insisted that the circuit boards inside the Mac, which no customer would ever see, had to be beautiful. To him, great workmen caring about every single detail. For you, this means taking pride in your work. Don't just study for a test, study to truly understand. Make your notes with care, not as a chore, but as an act of creation. It's not about getting a perfect score, it's about building a habit of excellence. When you combine hungry, foolish curiosity with a craftsman's dedication, learning stops being a chore and becomes an adventure. The world tells us to specialize, to cram, and only focus on what's practical. But the story of Steve Jobs in the calligraphy class teaches us a much bigger lesson. True genius doesn't come from a straight line. It comes from a rich, messy, and unpredictable web of connections. The method is simple but radical. 1. Diversify your mind by collecting as many unrelated dots as you can.
2. Master subtraction by focusing deeply on what's essential. And 3. Adopt the beginner's mind. Stay hungry, stay foolish, and do your work with the passion of a true craftsman. So the next time you feel pressure to stick to one path, remember Steve Jobs wandering into that calligraphy class. Don't just collect information. Collect dots. Trust your curiosity, and have faith that one day you'll look back and connect them in a way that is beautiful, powerful, and totally unique to you. This is Peak Razor. Let's build productivity systems that win daily.